Okay, so given f of x, 3 sine x, and g of x, which is 2 cos x plus 1. And then we said, if we put this in our table, we're going to have 3 sine x. And then we say equals to, we start at 0. And then we end at 360. Step, we leave it as state. And then we're going to have, give me the points now, 0 is to 0. Let's be fast about it. 0 is to 3. 0 is to 0. 30 is to 1,5. 60 is to 2,6. 90 is to 3. 120 is to 2,6. 150 is to 1,5. 180 is to 0. Okay. Then if we connect these ones, we have something that looks like this. Negative 1,5. 2,6. And then it's 3. And then it's 2,6. 1,5. And then after that, we have what? And then you connect these ones. So we're going to give you a mark for the correct shape. If the shape is correct, we give you 1 mark. And then the turning point, we're going to give you 1 mark also for the turning point. We're going to give you 1 mark for the intersection with the axis. And my x-intercept, we're also going to give you 1 mark. All in all, you get 3. Next, we're going to draw g of x. Now, look at these guys. Very important. I don't write on g of x. I'm still going to write it on f of x. So when I go and write here, I'm still going to say, but instead of f of x, I'm just going to put g of x is 2. And then you have cos, you have alpha, x, close bracket, plus 1. Equals to, we still start at 0.
Yes.
We are going to end at 360. The step is still 30. Now, 0 goes with 3. 0 and 3. 0 goes with 3. 30 goes with? Huh? 60. 90. 120. 150. Negative 0,7. Negative 0,7. That one is what? 180, 150 or 180? 150. 0, 180?
0,1.
210? 240? 270?
Why?
Then right is 2. Okay, 330? 360 is 3. Ne? Okay, after that you connect. Ne? It's confusing, that thing. You make a mistake. I don't want to make a mistakes. Okay, this one is g of x. Ne? And then the red one is f of x. Ne? So what are we going to give you AMA marks for? We're going to give you AMA marks for intersecting with the axis. We're going to give you a mark for the shape, the turning point, and the intersection with the axis. All in all, you give yourself 6 marks. Now let's go to number 2. On number 2, they say, write down the amplitude of G. What is the amplitude of G? G, look at G. What is going to be the amplitude of G? The amplitude is going to be equal to what? To 2. How did you get it? We said amplitude is going to be given by max minus mean in it, all over 2. And then what is your max?
3.
Minus what is your mean?
5.
Minus 1. Divided by 2, and then it gives us what? 2. It's 1 mark. Ne? Okay, let's go to the period. What is going to be a period? What is your period? It's 3/6. The period of f is equal to 3/6. So right period is going to be equal to what? 3/6. We give you another mark. Ne? Now, when we go to the last question, on the last question, we're interpreting. Ne? On the last question, it's more of interpretation. They say, for which values of x is g of x? G of x, they mean y. Y of g of x minus the y of f of x. If you minus the y of g of x and the y of f of x, they should give you 4. But this is important. The y of g of x should be on top. The y of f of x should be at the what? At the bottom. So let's go and look at the graph whereby we have the blue one being above. Ne? The blue one should be above, and then the other one should be what? Should be below. If you check here, I want us to highlight this one. This one is going to say we have 3. It's minus 0. Ne? What is 3 minus 0? 3 minus 0, it gives us 3. So it doesn't qualify. Ne? Let's try this one here. This one, it doesn't work because this one is on top. You see, this one is red. The red one is on top. Ne? So that one, we don't count it. So we don't count it up until we get here. Now, if you look at this one here, let's check here. If you check here, what do we have here? We have 1. Minus 3. What is 1 minus 3? 1 minus 3 is what? It's 4. Meaning which you can then say something like this. Then you can say which when x is equaling to 270, you are going to have f of g of x minus f of x giving you 4. Here, with the line then, if you check here, the vertical line here, this one here gives you 4. If you say y of this one minus y of this one, what is the x value that is making that to be possible? The x value that is making that one to be possible is 270. So right here you have 270. Now, let's go to this one then. This one here, it speaks about f of x, you multiply it with g of x, they should give you something which is positive. Ne? Now, you want to multiply f of x with g of x, they should give you something which is positive. What does that mean? It means I'm going to say y f of x multiplied by the y of g of x. They're supposed to give me greater or equals to 0, which I'm looking for something which is positive or is equal to 0. Now, how do you get a positive? Let's ask ourselves that question. How to get a positive? You get a positive if both graphs are above the x-axis. If you have a positive multiplied by a positive is going to give you positive. A negative multiplied by a negative is also going to give you what? Positive. So how do you get a positive and a positive? Both of them should be above the x-axis or both of them should be below the what? The x-axis. Now we're going to check where our graph, both of them are above the x-axis, and then we'll come and highlight it. If you look at this here, look at this. Where's g of x here? You come and check which way is g of x. G of x is above the x-axis here. I will come and highlight which g of x is above the x-axis, and f of x is also above the x-axis up until I get 220 here. So I'm highlighting this part here. G of x is above the x-axis and f of x is also what? Above the x-axis. But look at this one here. What is happening starting from 120 here? F of x is above the x-axis, but g of x is what is below. So this one doesn't apply because it's a positive and a what and a negative. Up until I get to this point here. As soon as I get to this point, what do I have? I have both of them negative and negative. Yes. Up until I get here. You see this piece here that I'm highlighting, I want it. What else do I want? This one I don't want because this one is above, this one is what is below. So that one doesn't apply. So what are the x values that are making this to be possible? It's from 0 up until 120, from 180 up until what? 240. How do I write this then? I'm going to write it this way. I'm going to say from 0 up until we get to 120. And then I'm going to tell them which x is going to be an element using square brackets. Number 2, I'm going to say x is an element from 180 up until we get to 240. Yeah, it's solution number 1, and then this is going to be solution number 2.